Yo, this season took a turn, and I don't think I like where it turned to. Welcome in, my name is Jer, and we are talking about Drag Race Thailand Season 3, Episode 5. This is the Snatch Game episode. I was feeling really good when I woke up, but then I got hit with something, and I feel like crap right now. So forgive the way that I sound right now. We're gonna push through it. That's show business, baby. This episode was really bad. From mini challenge to judgment being strange, and a really heavy, gross workroom bullying experience. I know that we look at reality TV a little bit different here in the United States. We peek into these conversations where people are talking to one person and sort of all ganging up on them. And we look at that with a little more accountability of saying, you all are bullying this person. They clearly are upset. We sort of have trained ourselves to look at certain behavior as bullying. And placed outside of the US, I know that that is not as much of a situation. So it's very possible that I am looking at this through a lens that is incorrect. The way that I viewed this entire conversation between Siam and everyone felt like bullying to me. I would love to hear some other opinions and see if I'm not the only one who's feeling this way, but I was very uncomfortable by it. So let's put a pin in that and get into the nitty-gritty of this episode. ZP is feeling really good about her win last week, as she should, because she killed that acting challenge. And ZP is really on a star rise right now. We're seeing ZP solidify herself as a frontrunner in the competition. She's been good at a lot of different challenges, and I feel like being good at an acting challenge is a really good way of showing that you're kind of ready for the global stage. And it seems like Pangina is sort of prepping these girls to be international ready, not just good for what Drag Race Thailand is expecting. That being said, I don't think anybody is really reaching that level of international stardom, but I think ZP is certainly solidifying herself as being someone who's been able to roll with the punches and get close to what that's looking like and what the Drag Race sphere is expecting from you. On the alternative side, Benze was not doing that at all. And I learned that that scraggly wig from last week was not actually a scraggly wig. It was feathers. Was that magpie feathers? Why did she think that was a good idea? Mama, that was so rotten to see that up close. The girls are a bit gagged that Shotgun was eliminated, and I fully agree. I think it should have been Spicy Sunshine. I think not only should she have gone home last week, but I think she should have been mid-safe this week, even low-safe. The following day, Gigi asked Siam why she never gives her full opinion when people ask her things. And here's how I interpreted that conversation from Siam's point of view. I'm in a competition and I'm feeling really insecure week to week to week. I go on the stage thinking that I did pretty good, and then I get bad feedback. I'm already feeling in a negative headspace because of that. If one of y'all in the workroom told me, hey, your look is bad or you did bad in the challenge, I'm going to feel doubly bad because I already know the judges are not going to like me. If you tell me, hey, you look nice, it might give me a little bit of a confidence boost so that I won't feel like total dog water when I get judged by these professionals. Therefore, I'm going to treat people the way that I want to be treated. Very much that accountability conversation that I had earlier. And if I'm not mistaken, Siam is from California, a place that is very socially responsible. And this conversation ended up spiking into something that it didn't need to be at all. And I have other thoughts, and I don't know if it's my place to share it, but I'm going to anyway, so if you're interested, stick around. And at this point, a lot of the other girls start dogpiling onto Siam, and I really hated that. The mini challenge this week was a reading challenge, and these are always kind of complicated when it gets to the international seasons, because I don't know how much of these jokes are just not translating into English, that when I'm reading them on the screen, maybe they're much funnier in person, but they just don't translate well. But from context clues, I don't think Pangina particularly found any of them very funny either. The idea of reading and shading someone is that you're supposed to be funny. You are supposed to be quick-witted. You're telling them something they already know, but with a sharp tongue. No one did that. One of my favorite reads comes from Drag Race Down Under, where I believe Art Simone was talking about etc., saying, as we know, etc's pronouns are they and them. They have not been doing well, so we won't be seeing them in the finals. However, Godwin came to play. She mentioned that she had some notes and she had been writing them down all season, and that's the way you're supposed to play this game. You get ready for the challenges ahead of time that you already know are coming, and you get ready to obliterate. And I wrote down in my notes, at least someone came ready to work. And the queens then learned that the maxi challenge is going to be the snatch game. I love when Minnie and Maines collab with each other and they make sense that they're in the same room, such as a reading challenge and snatch game, or a Soul Train dance number and a rusical. And judging based off this abysmal reading challenge, I was expecting snatch game to be quite bad. And I was right. Benze made a terrible mistake by playing Marilyn Monroe. No joke was funny. She landed in that place that archetypes like Jade and Dior Fierce do, where they just rely on one joke and it never gets a laugh, and yet they keep doing it every single time. Spicy Sunshine did Patu, and I did not think it was very funny. This has to be one of those situations where the characterization was so specific to knowing who this person was. Similar to someone like Killer Queen in España season 1, who did a character that I didn't think was very funny in comparison to what Sahi did, which was hilarious. And I think with comedy, it should be able to translate across languages. And personally, I thought that Frankie was the funniest one in the room. I did not giggle even once at anything that Spicy did, but clearly Pangina liked it. Godland was so severely unfunny, and I was really expecting a lot based off how funny the reading challenge was. I thought Godland was gonna turn it out, but Godland didn't. ZP was kind of unmemorable to me. Nane was fairly funny and I enjoyed that ribbon cutting moment. It felt like a spectacle and I kind of want Snatch Game to be that. Gigi played Rihanna from Thailand and I thought this was a terrible idea. Rihanna's not a very funny person. She doesn't have any bits or any jokes that she does. She doesn't really have any funny, iconic, hilarious, bombastic moments that you can riff off of. And then on top of it, you're taking a character who's not native to your area, and then you have to translate their personality type into yours and be able to transfer that to the camera. And Rihanna's just not that person. Rihanna's in that same globe of people like Beyonce, Whitney Houston, Kelly Clarkson probably. Fantastic artists who are just not funny. Even if they have funny moments while they're on camera, it's because of the way that they say something, not because of what they said. Frankie's character I really wasn't sure if I was supposed to laugh at, and I thought Frankie's comedy was funny. I appreciated their irreverence, I appreciated that they were willing to go far with it, I appreciated their physical movements, I appreciated the way that they even approached the other contestants while they were in the challenge. Was this a culturally insensitive character? I don't know, but I would assume that the producers would have not allowed it to go through if they were worried that it wasn't appropriate to have on TV. So I was kind of gagged that Frankie was safe. We'll get into that in a moment. And ultimately, this was just a really flat, boring, unfunny Snatch Game, and I can't believe that we have had something like 69 seasons of Drag Race. And maybe only 2 of those, season 1 of Mainline and All Stars 1, did not have a proper Snatch Game. So 67 seasons of Snatch Game, and we're still having boring Snatch Games. That tells me that this challenge is not working anymore, and it does not fit the rubric of what drag is now. People just are not doing celebrity impersonation as their side gig like drag queens used to do. I don't think they're pulling references from celebrities anymore. And I think they're tailoring their humor to be something that it's just not. So this conversation between the workroom and Siam continues. It specifically stems from Gigi, who starts getting really hot about Siam coming off fake, because Siam won't tell everybody what she really thinks. And this is so weird to me. I don't understand when this became a thing. This felt like othering. To me, as an outside viewer, this to me felt like, you are not from here, and we don't want you to take a spot that one of us currently have. We don't want you to continue in the competition because one of us is going to go home, and we'd rather someone from here stay to top 4, not someone who's coming from America. I could be totally off base on this, but it sort of felt the same way that a lot of the global All-Stars fights were, is that the Rue girls were pushing out non-Rue girls and wanted to make sure that only the girls judged by RuPaul made it to the end. Because they saw themselves as being the better contestants because they were actually judged by the host of the show. And this to me felt like really gross othering. A lot of the girls dogpiled onto Siam and continued this conversation. Siam was practically in tears saying that she doesn't understand the problem, she doesn't understand the issue, completely explained herself again and again why she doesn't give her full opinions, that she's not being fake, that she's just trying to be nice to people. And this is a cultural difference of the way that drag is approached in the US, especially in California, where everybody's allowed into the conversation and you make space for everyone to be who they are. Some of the girls were starting to kind of come around and saying, I think I understand you now and I understand why you are the way that you are. But then Gigi continued railing on her, getting hot and yelling. And while part of it did feel like othering, another part of it felt like a desperate attempt to try and get more airtime. Gigi, I think, knows that she's not doing well in the competition, even having a breakdown on the runway saying that she's having problems and doesn't know what the judges want from her. I think she knows that she's doing bad in every category. And so she's trying to grasp at a couple extra straws to try and maybe give her another episode or two. If she has a storyline with Siam, maybe she stays long enough to lip sync against her. If she is starting friction in the workroom, maybe producers would be willing to let someone who's a little quiet go so that she can stick around. And this behavior is not something that I particularly am drawn to. I don't always like the antagonizer in the workroom, and it made me lose respect for a lot of these other contestants who just continued to dogpile Siam for honestly no reason. Maybe there is fully something that I'm missing, and if there are any Thai people that are watching this who might have a little more cultural clues as to what I'm not understanding and why this was a problem, please let me know, because even Siam seemed confused. So let's get through the runway pretty quickly. First off, I love the idea of what Pangina wore, but the eye holes were so funny because there was one point where it zoomed in on her face and the eye hole was here, but the eyeball was way down here. And I don't think they fit this before they put it on her head. The category is Clown is Sexy and I Know It. ZP looked really freaking cool. This was totally American Horror Story coded. I love the black latex. This was such a departure from what we've seen from her other looks, so it was nice to kind of see a darker side of ZP. Spicy Sunshine looked like a disaster. It was the same boring concept that we saw last week, a mesh bodysuit with some stuff. I was gagged that this was top. This was a bottom 3 placement. I've got to be missing something. I felt so bad for Siam because you can tell that she was so distracted by this workroom fight that she did not have enough time to paint her body correctly or even set the makeup. I like the idea of the look and I think it would have been better executed if it was a bodysuit, but you can see how distracted she was on the runway and was just not present at all. Benze came out next and this sad clown face was so funny. I didn't love the costume, but I loved the presentation on the runway. Nane blew me out of the water. The big top tent with the elephant underneath showed a fun sense of humor, and then the nip nops having the string inside of them as she kept pulling out was incredible. This was such a fun runway, and to me this was one of the best looks of the night. Plus I'm a sucker for neon. Next out is Frankie Wonka with the best look of the night. This was incredible. It looked like a cartoon. It was giving me 1920s carnival poster where they would advertise whoever was performing and it'd be in this graphic black and white. The bodysuit was incredible, and this is what Siam's should have looked like. This was my winner. Next out was Gigi Ferocious in a not clown look at all. I don't understand the connection to clown. I love pink and black houndstooth, but the neck ruffle was not ruffly enough to be clown. The ripped up fishnets were a strange disconnect from everything else, and she took off the skirt, which was arguably the most clowny looking thing that was on this costume, and removed it within the first 5 seconds of the runway. But then she slipped, and I laughed. Karma is only a bitch if you are. Next up, we got Godland, who I also really loved. This demonic evil clown was quite scary and fun. I liked the idea of bringing this to a horror genre. Clowns inherently are really scary to me, and I think a lot of other people. So I appreciated that Godland leaned into that. It was more circus performer than clown. Like, I was definitely getting tightrope walker, but I don't necessarily think that's bad. It was close enough to the category. So then we get to deliberation, and this was rigged as hell. Having a top and bottom 5 when it was easy to do a top and bottom 6 tells me that producers did not want Frankie to get the win for this characterization. Maybe they didn't want to reward the behavior, maybe producers didn't like the character, maybe they just didn't like that it was done at all. But Frankie should have won this challenge because of that runway, even if maybe the character wasn't as sensitive as it could have been. But also, I don't know who this is, so I have no stakes in this race. And Spicy got positive critiques, which I thought was insane because not only did I not find her funny, but her runway outfit was awful. And then she won the challenge, which I was triply confused by. Spicy should not be here at this point. And Siam being safe was also a crime. I may love this girl and I may want her to go to the end just to spite these other queens, but she objectively did bad in Snatch Game and on the runway, and it should have been a bottom 3. Plus that would have made much better TV. And in my opinion, I thought Benze was hilarious. I appreciated taking this song, which was upbeat and kind of sexy, and turning it into a sad clown trying really hard to be present in the lyrics of this song. And maybe it's just because I'm mad at Gigi for her attitude towards Siam this week, but I really wanted Benze to stay, so I wasn't really paying much attention to what Gigi was doing. She danced really well and she moved across the stage well, but I just don't want her to be here anymore. I thought she should have been in the bottom last week with Spicy. And it's bumming me out to see how bad judging was this week, because it doesn't feel like it was fair at all. This was a multi-person bottom Snatch Game episode with only one clear front runner. So overall, I felt disappointed by this episode. But maybe I'm alone in this. Maybe this episode slayed to some of y'all. Let me know in the comments. I would like to know what your thoughts are. As of right now, I feel like Gigi is going to last another 2 episodes, maybe 3. Her friction with Siam is going to continue until that's resolved. And I feel like that's when her airtime will end. Or Siam will send her packing next week. Although it looks like we've got a Rusical coming up, so I'm anticipating Siam to maybe not do very well, just based off how she did in the girl group challenge. And I swear if Spicy makes it through another week and wins another challenge, after doing so poorly this whole competition, what did you think? Thank you for watching, and I will see y'all on the flip. Hey, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to click that like button. And if you want to see more, hit subscribe. Goodbye!